Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the board meeting of Monday, June 17th, 2024. I'd like to call this meeting to order and begin with the land acknowledgement. The Durham District School Board acknowledges that many Indigenous nations have long-standing relationships, both historic and modern, with the territories upon which our school board and schools are located. Today, the area is home to many Indigenous peoples from across Turtle Island. We acknowledge that the Durham region forms a part of the traditional and treaty territory of the Mississaugas of Scugog Island First Nation, the Mississauga peoples, and the treaty territory of the Chippewas of Georgina Island First Nation. It is on these ancestral and treaty lands that we teach, learn, and live. I'd like to call on Trustee Edwards, who will welcome and introduce Cataract Public School Tonight Junior Choir, who will perform O Canada for Us. After the performance, Trustee Miller will show appreciation for the performance. Thank you.
Tonight, we are excited to showcase the Cataract Public School Junior Choir, composed of students in grades 4 to 6 under the co-directions of teachers Alicia Govro and Christos Caldas. The choir has prepared an impressive performance of O Canada that will be followed by a moving rendition of Lift Me Up from Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Students have dedicated significant effort, teamwork, and musicianship to deliver this performance, and without further ado, let's enjoy their performance and celebrate their dedication. Please rise for O Canada if you can.
On behalf of the entire Board of Trustees, we want to thank you, the students of Cataraqui Public School, for their work in preparing for this performance tonight. We hope to have another performance in the future.
We have special guests joining us this evening. I would like to welcome the newly elected and re-elected student trustees for the 2024-2025 term. Brock Uxbridge Skugog, re-elected student trustee for a second term, Kayla Hoare, and newly elected student trustees for Oshawa Whitby, Nitishan Pupalasundaram, and for Pickering and Ajax, Shampavi Vijayakumar. We are looking forward to working with you next year. I'd now like to call on Secretary of the Board, Camille Williams-Taylor, for the swearing in of the newly appointed trustee.
Thank you, Chair. Tonight is indeed a special night, one where we have the privilege of welcoming Mark Jacula as a new trustee to the DDSB Board of Trustees. I will now ask Mark to join me at the table to recite and sign the declaration.
I, Mark Jacula, do solemnly declare that 1, I am not disqualified under any act from being a member of Durham District School Board. 2, I will truly, faithfully, impartially, and to the best of my ability execute the office of board member, and that I have not received and will not receive any payment or reward or promise thereof for the exercise of any partiality or malversation or other undue execution of the said office, and that I will disclose any pecuniary interest, direct or indirect, as required by and in accordance with the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act.
Mark, on behalf of the Durham District School Board, I'd like to welcome you to the Board of Trustees, and we certainly look forward to working with you over the remaining term into 2026. Congratulations.
Trustees, we'll now take a short recess so that we can take a photograph in the lobby or the foyer of trustees. So I'll meet you out there. and we'll resume our meeting. I'm asking if there are any declarations of interest at this time. And I'm seeing none. There are no declarations of interest at this time. I would like to call on Trustee Penillo to share a story with us in honor of Pride Month. Trustee Penillo.
Thank you, Chair, and through you, good evening, everyone. I am very pleased to be sharing this story of kindness, courage, community, and allyship, along with some of my own reflections from a family in Oshawa. So this is a story submitted by Erin on behalf of her parents, Paul and Cherie, who both call Oshawa home. And in their beautiful garden is a flagpole that proudly flies the Canadian flag and the Pride flag. This is a symbol that resonates with their neighbors. You see, Paul and Sherry have had strangers reach out to them and share the importance of the Pride flag in their yard in the neighborhood. In fact, a teenage DDSB student knocked on their door and shared that seeing the flag each day as he walked to and from school made him feel safe and seen and was so incredibly important to him. But last year, the flag was stolen. It was ripped out and cut off from the flagpole and taken. However, Paul replaced the flag. This year, the entire pole was stolen, flags and all. While it's sad and jilting, Paul and Sherry didn't give up. They reached out to neighbors to see if anyone had seen anything, and not long after, a neighbor found the flagpole discarded in a field nearby and returned it. The pole is back up, with the flags flying proudly. While we have come so far, this story really shows us a couple of things. First, how far we have yet to go in learning and accepting others, particularly with the rise of hatred, intolerance, and harassment that we have and are seeing, but also how impactful the actions of one person can be. Where we might think a flag is just a small symbol, that symbol is a beacon of hope and safety to those navigating a world in a body that is already difficult and sometimes unkind. Erin said that she hopes this story reminds us that the work that we have as allies and as members of the 2S LGBTQIA+ community is ongoing, always important, and never finished. The DDSB GSA conference from 2 weeks ago was a phenomenal, powerful reminder of that commitment. So to my fellow trustees and community members, let us measure our allyship and our advocacy not just by what we say and what we do, but rather how we become beacons of safety to those who need it most. Happy Pride.
Thank you, Trustee Penillo. May I have a mover and a seconder to adopt the agendas distributed? Trustee Cunningham, seconder, Trustee Brown, all in favor. Motion carries. Item 7 on your agenda is around the proposed consent items. Is there any objection to the matters listed in Section 7 of the agenda being approved or adopted as noted on the agenda? Seeing none, those items are approved or adopted as noted on the agenda. Moving on to item 8, and I'd like to call on Director Camille Williams-Taylor.
Thank you, Chair, and through you. Good evening and welcome. I'm pleased to be sharing the final update for the 2023-24 school year tonight alongside the Chair. In recognition of the collaborative work and the efforts of staff, the Board of Trustees, and student trustees. As we approach the end of June, a flurry of year-end activity is underway with schools and offices, including completion events for students in senior kindergarten, grade 8 and 12, exams, and culminating projects. On behalf of the senior team, I'd like to recognize and thank all DDSB staff and students for their hard work through the entire school year. Your achievements are a testament to your dedication, creativity, and ability to navigate challenges and come together in support of the betterment of our community. We're sending best wishes to our high school students who are jumping into final exams this week. Pace yourselves, get some sleep, and stay hydrated. This year, in addition to guiding students towards their academic goals and providing multiple pathways and opportunities for them to achieve, we continue to prioritize the well-being of students and staff and remain focused on advancing the essential work of removing barriers to success and upholding our commitments to Indigenous and human rights for those in our communities. In January, trustees passed the 24-28 multi-year strategic plan, charting forward a course based on community and staff input. This coming fall, implementation of the 24-25 operational plan, recently presented to the board and made public, will begin and will guide our actions toward achieving the goals set out in the multi-year strategic plan of meaningful learning, connected communities, and well-being. The operational plan sets a clear path forward for the entire district and includes measures and monitoring strategies so that we can be sure that we are meeting our goals while making adjustments as needed to improve along the way. Over the summer, I hope everyone finds some time to reflect, celebrate achievements, recharge, and look forward in anticipation of what next year will bring, which for some includes a return to our schools and workplaces, the start of retirement for others, or transition to the workplace, apprenticeship, college, or university to continue learning journeys. I'll ask Chair Thatcher at this point to share the rest of this update.
Good evening, and thank you, Director. It is my pleasure to welcome the community to our final board meeting of the school year. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, we're appreciative of the strength of our partnership with staff in support of students and families. A number of significant initiatives and events have taken place this year where trustees work closely with staff in support of our shared commitments to board policies, meaningful learning, connected communities, well-being, and practice in schools and workplaces. This includes recognizing, celebrating, and applauding the work, achievements, and unique strengths and needs of students and staff at Student Recognition Night, the Durham Black Education Network, Student Success Awards, being part of the Student Art Gallery Selection Committee, being present to affirm the importance of opportunities. To name a few of these opportunities, Cipher Black Male Empowerment, Empower Her, and Student Gender Sexuality Alliance, GSA, conferences, and celebrating the start of new chapters for staff and students at the retirement reception and graduations yet to come. Trustees have engaged alongside staff in the community, helping to advance priorities by participating in important decisions as members on DDSB's advisory and statutory committees, and being prepared at the board table to confidently make decisions, including participating in the work of consultation, development, and adoption of the 2024 to 2028 multi-year strategic plan, and also supporting staff in the development of a balanced budget. The DDSB is a learning organization, and like students and staff, trustees have also committed to professional development as we continue to grow in our ability to champion good governance, decision-making, and human and Indigenous rights. Together, staff and board members have jointly continued advocating to the Ministry of Education for new schools across the district to support increasing enrollment and meet the needs of our growing community. And we are thrilled with the progress of the year, with multiple capital priorities underway in various stages of approval and construction. I'd also like to specifically mention the recent Take Your MPP to School initiative and to recognize the valuable partnerships between trustees and staff as we engaged local politicians in seeing firsthand the impactful work that is happening in our schools. These events shine a light on our vibrant schools and workplaces and are a welcome opportunity to show to those outside the DDSB the dedication of staff and students within our walls. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, congratulations to all this year's graduates and retirees, and best wishes for a positive close to the school year to the entire DDSB community. Moving on to item 9 on the agenda, public question period. We're now on item 9, public question period. Each question being asked this evening will be displayed on screen along with its response from staff. Questioners are reminded to ask only their approved question. We've allocated up to 30 minutes for public question period, and a timer will be visible for all participants. All approved questions, along with their corresponding answers from staff, will be posted on the Durham District School Board website following this meeting. All questions submitted for public question period will be shared with trustees following the meeting. I would like to invite Dylan Reynolds to ask a question virtually, which will then be responded to by Associate Director Jim Markowski. Dylan?
All right, good evening, everybody. I'm back for the June board meeting. My question tonight is about the cell phone and social media ban. Back in 2019, the Ontario government banned the use of cell phones in Ontario classrooms, but since then, in April 2024, the Ontario government recently announced some new restrictions to the cell phone ban and social media accounts. And I'm wondering, how will it impact school operations and how will it be enforced?
Hello, Dylan, and welcome on this lovely June evening. So in relation to your question, on April 28th, the province revised PPM 128. It's a policy and program memorandum that school boards receive, strengthening restrictions on the use of personal mobile devices in schools, such that everyone in a school community must not use personal mobile devices during instructional time except under specific circumstances, including when directed by an educator for educational purposes, for health and medical reasons, or to support special education needs. The revised PPM will require students in grades 7 to 12 to keep their personal mobile devices out of view and on silent or turned off during instructional time, and students in grades 6 and below will be required to keep personal mobile devices out of view and on silent or turned off throughout the entire school day, subject to the exceptions that I mentioned. There will be communication that will be forthcoming to families when we begin the 24-25 school year. Regarding the new requirement to restrict access to all social media platforms on school networks and school devices, our staff is currently consulting with internal departments and ministry personnel to support the development of district guidelines. So there'll be more information to follow in there as well. In terms of this evening, a bit timely that you're asking this question because staff have prepared a memo that is included in the agenda tonight that outlines in greater detail PPM's 128's requirements. It gives you a breakdown of DDSB's current practices and also next steps. Thank you.
You know, I do want to take this moment to thank everyone in the DDSB for giving me the award at the Student Recognition Night on June 11, 2024. And all the work I did over the past couple of years really paid off in the end. So I want to say see you guys on Monday, September 16th, 2024. Bye.
Dylan, before you go, is there any way we can get him back?
Sorry, not.
All right. Well, let's share with you then the special message that we had for Dylan up on the screen, and I'm going to call on Dylan's very good friend, Trustee Carolyn Morton.
Hi, Dylan. We are sorry that you made such a quick exit, but we have a message for you, and our message is best wishes, Dylan. Congratulations on receiving your certificate of accomplishment. We've appreciated your engagement, and we wish you all the best in the future. And I just want to say, Dylan, personally, I was so thrilled to meet you and your parents at that special event last Tuesday where you were recognized. I've known you for a number of years now. I love engaging with you, and don't hesitate to call me anytime you'd like. Looking forward to seeing you in September. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Trustee Morton. So that concludes public question period. We'll now move on to item 10, good news from the system, and I'll call on Director of Education, Camille Williams-Taylor.
Thank you, Chair. And as always, we do have a video presentation ready, and so I will call on our media folks to hit play and hear our students telling us about the excellence in our district.
Good evening, everyone. On behalf of DDSB students and staff, we are happy to bring you good news from across the system.
On May 13th, over 600 elementary school students across the DDSB and the Durham Catholic District School Board gathered at Durham College for the Forest of Reading celebration. 17 authors and illustrators were there to share their journey and encourage students to continue their love of reading.
Thursday, May 2nd was Family Arts Night at Roland Missioner Public School. The community gathered at the school for an interactive and fun-filled school community building evening with students, families, staff, and community partners. It was a wonderful evening of dance, drama, music, drumming, visual arts, crafts, and button making. Thank you to all staff, students, and families for their participation.
Rosemary Brown Public School student Tavis is the host of Secrets of the Forest, a nature science show on TVO Kids. Viewers follow the ever-curious Tavis on eco-adventures across Canada. The show has greatly contributed to the success of TVO Kids, Tavis, and her science class this year. It can also be viewed on tvokids.com every Monday night. Congratulations, Tavis!
The senior class at Eastdale CVI were treated to a delicious breakfast to celebrate their upcoming graduation on behalf of the Ignite Durham Learning Foundation. Thank you to IDLF and Eastdale student volunteers and staff who made this event possible.
Congratulations to Omar Algazar of Maxwell Heights Secondary School for being recognized as a recipient of the 2024 TD Scholarships for Community Leadership Program. This program recognizes students from across Canada for their leadership and contributions to their community. This year, DDSB has the privilege of honoring 22 students who won the OSSTF District 13 Awards. Congratulations to all the winners who received awards based on their positive character traits, and to Brianna Ashakumar for receiving the Adam Wood Scholarship. Thank you to everyone who attended the ceremony in support of our students. Great work.
The DDSB held its annual Student Recognition Night at Sinclair Secondary School to celebrate the achievements of outstanding students. Each secondary school was represented by 3 students who were nominated by school staff for their significant contributions to the school community, the positive influence they've had on their peers, or their remarkable efforts to excel in the face of adversity. Congratulations to this year's Student Recognition Night recipients.
DDSB parents, guardians, student, and community members from across the district attended the Living Compendium Community Engagement Evening. The event was held on June 4th at Da Vinci Public School to launch the Compendium of Black Student Success 2.0. Attendees heard about actions that will be undertaken throughout the district to dismantle anti-Black racism and had opportunity to provide feedback and ask questions. DDSB staff look forward to continuing the work in this area.
Students gathered at the Education Center on June 4th for the annual Gender Sexual Alliance Conference. This year's theme was Amplifying Voices, Igniting Change. To kick off the day, Ren and Joseph from the Get Real movement shared their personal stories in an engaging keynote speech. Students also enjoyed interactive workshops and connecting with community organizations.
The Durham East Asian Network in Education and the Durham Educators Network for South Asians invited the community to join them for a celebration of cultures for Asian and South Asian Heritage Month. The event, titled Pathways for Asian Excellence, was held at Sinclair Secondary School on May 24th and included artists, local professionals, and an opportunity to celebrate.
On Friday, May 31st, the Education Center held a celebration for the beginning of Indigenous History Month in June. Staff gathered for a grass dance presentation and heartfelt words from Chief Kelly LaRocca, along with DDSB staff. The gathering marked the start of Indigenous History Month, which is a time to pay tribute to and appreciate Indigenous history and knowledge. Thank you to all who attended in person and virtually.
The DDSB, in partnership with the Ontario Heritage Fair Association, hosted students in a regional fair on May 24th at the Education Center. Students shared research presentations on various Canadian topics, from Tim Hortons to Terry Fox, celebrating a diverse Canadian identity. Kudos to our young historians. This year's student art gallery theme, My Journey, My Joy, My Genius, challenged students from grades 7 to 12 to share their unique perspectives throughout inspiring artworks. Looking forward to more celebrations happening before the end of the school year.
As you can see, the dates of significance take us to the next board meeting in September.
Thank you to Cameron and Melissa from Sinclair Secondary School for reading this month's good news.
We have 4 presentations this evening. As this is the last board meeting of the school year, on behalf of the entire Board of Trustees, I'd like to thank our outgoing student trustees, Ben Cameron, Neha Kasoju, who is graduating, and Kayla Hoare, who has been elected for a second term as student trustee for the 2024-2025 school year. The work they have done this school year in advocating for their peers has been exceptional. These 3 student trustees truly made a difference and developed leadership skills that will last a lifetime. I would like to welcome the student trustees, parents, and family members who are joining us this evening. You must be very proud of their accomplishments. Student trustees, I would like to invite you to join us at the podium. Ben Cameron. As we bid farewell to Ben Cameron, a graduating grade 12 student from Dunbarton High School in Pickering, we reflect on his significant contributions as a student trustee over the past 2 years. Ben's dedication to public administration and his commitment to human rights have left a lasting impact. His role with the Ontario Student Trustees Association, where he advocated for Indigenous students, showcased his passion for justice, equity, and inclusion. Next year, Ben will attend the University of Ottawa to pursue a degree in political science. We extend our gratitude to Ben for his service and wish him all the best in the road ahead. Ben? Kayla Hoare. Congratulations to Kayla Hoare, grade 11 student at Port Perry High School, on her re-election as a student trustee for the 2024-25 school year. Kayla's enthusiasm for business, art, and people has been evident throughout her first term, and we are excited to see her build on these successes. Her dedication to making a meaningful community impact sets her apart as a young leader. Kayla's commitment to serving her peers and her eagerness to continue this journey is inspiring. We are pleased to support Kayla in her continued role as a student trustee and look forward to another year of her dedication to student representation. Neha Kasoju. We proudly recognize Neha Kasoju, graduating grade 12 student from Donald A. Wilson Secondary School in Whitby, for her exemplary service as a student trustee throughout her term. She demonstrated remarkable leadership and a commitment to creating positive change. Neha's passion for science, technology, engineering, and math has driven her to be a leader and a supportive community member. In the fall, Neha will pursue a degree in mechatronics engineering at the University of Waterloo, where she will continue to excel and inspire those around her. We are grateful for Neha's contributions and wish her all the best in the future. Neha? Director Camille Williams-Taylor would like to say a few words.
Thank you so much, and all I have to say to add to all of that is congratulations, but more so a huge thanks for your leadership. I know that you inspired so many students because you brought their voices to this table, but you also inspired us. You kept us honest. You kept us on point. There were so many times that you asked the question that hung in the room, waiting for a voice. And so it reminds us the fact that our work is centered at the desks of every student in the Durham District School Board. So thank you for that. Thank you for your leadership. We know Kayla will be back, and we wish the both of you very best as you pursue your next steps.
A Chairperson Scholarship Fund was established by the Durham District School Board on May 2003 to be awarded annually by the Chair of the Board to a graduating student. The criteria for the award includes the applicant meeting the eligibility requirements and receiving a recommendation by their secondary school principal. A committee consisting of myself, Trustees Michelle Arsenault, Trustee Tracy Brown, Trustee Stephen Linton, and Trustee Carolyn Morton reviewed the nomination applications. The committee determined to award the Chairperson Scholarship Award for 2024 to Kayla Escoffery, a student at Pickering High School. Kayla is an exemplary student, achieving honor roll standing while maintaining part-time employment and participating in competitive extracurriculars. Kayla works tirelessly as a champion for social justice and serves as an exemplary candidate demonstrating leadership in the school community. Kayla has engaged in numerous activities at the school, which speaks to her ability to take initiative and think innovatively. Kayla founded the Pickering High School Black Students Association, the BSA, that seeks to amplify the voices of Black students and combat anti-Black racism by creating workshops and events to promote awareness and Black excellence. Kayla has successfully worked with her peers to provide a space where self-identified Black students come together to participate in panel discussions, provide social emotional support during traumatic experiences, and engage in advocacy campaigns. Kayla helped coordinate a panel of Black professionals to share their story of success with her peers. She also hosted a scholarship application workshop for students to gain insight into steps for applying for various scholarships. Kayla is a strong advocate for human rights. taking on various leadership roles in the school, including Women's Empowerment Association and Gay Straight Alliance Pride Club. In addition to her school activities, Kayla has left an impression within other organizations that has been part of Kayla as a youth executive member of the Black Youth in York region, and has been an integral part of this group, both as chair and leading various initiatives. In her role as instructor and counselor for the town of Ajax, Kayla provided mentorship and support to youth from various backgrounds, helping them to access activities that enhanced their overall health and well-being. Kayla has been equally successful in advancing her leadership skills from her role, yes, there's more, from her role as a student to supervising coach and assistant coach for both her soccer league and cheerleading programs. She not only provides much needed representation in these areas as a Black woman, but also serves as a role model for her peers. Kayla plans to attend Carleton University in the fall for an honors bachelor in social work. She hopes to continue to make a difference by having a career in macro social work and providing those in her community with culturally responsive supports that allow them to be their most authentic self and create systemic change. Kayla exemplifies leadership and citizenship while representing several diverse student issues, making her a worthy recipient of the Chairperson's Scholarship Award. I'm wondering if the group would like to come down and congratulate Kayla with me and the director. I would like to invite Kayla to say a few words. Thank you. Kayla, I'd like to invite you to say a few words.
Well, I first would like to say thank you, trustees, for this award. I really appreciate it. I would also like to thank the educators in my life who allowed me to find my voice and support citizens. Being a student of the DDSB since grade 1 has really impacted me and helped me find my voice and be the leader I want to be. So thank you, as well as I want to say thank you to my mom and my dad for supporting me in my ambitious activities and initiatives. Without them, I wouldn't be able to do as much as I wanted to do. So thank you to them for also inspiring me to be a model citizen and so on.
Let's get a picture with the group. At this time, I would like to call on Superintendent Andrea McCauley for the Abilities Scholarship Award.
Good evening, and through you, Chair. This evening, we are pleased to announce and present the 2024 Ability Scholarship. The Learning Disabilities Association of Durham Region and the Durham District School Board partner annually to provide the Abilities Scholarship Award. This scholarship recognizes a Durham District School Board high school student for excellence who will be continuing their studies in the fall. A committee comprised of members of both organizations reviewed 26 nominations to determine this year's recipient. We welcome Rowan Jarvis of the Learning Disabilities Association of Durham Region, SEAC representative, joining us this evening, and thank Trustees Edwards and Trustees Miller, along with SEAC Chair Eva Kyriakides, for representation on the selection committee. Congratulations to the 2024 Abilities Scholarship recipient, Kylie McCurdy from Ajax High School. Kylie's video submission, which we will share in viewing together this evening, highlights a journey of empowerment, achievement, and passion. Kylie will soon celebrate high school graduation and move into post-secondary studies towards becoming a social service worker. Kylie's perseverance, insightfulness, and connection to others are extremely well-fitting of this career path. Kylie's video will be followed by a few words from both Rowan and Kylie. It is my pleasure to invite Kylie and Rowan to join with Trustees Edwards and Trustee Miller in the presentation of the award and scholarship, if you'd like to come down to the center at this time. We would also like to recognize Kylie's aunt, Vice Principal, and Champion Educational Assistant, Cheryl Giglio, who are joining in the audience this evening. Media team, please share Kylie's video.
My name is Kylie McCurdy. I'm in grade 12 and I am 17 years old. I am applying for the Ability Scholarship Award for spring of 2024. I'm going to talk a little bit what it was like for me to have a learning disability going through a lot of different schools. Firstly, and I want to say this most importantly, I would not take it back in a heartbeat. My learning disability, yes, it was hard to overcome a lot of barriers and get through a lot of things. I have to give 110% when other kids only have to give 50. And that's okay because it helped shape me into the person I am today. It gave me the strength to persevere and go through a diversity and understand that just because it takes me a little bit longer doesn't make me stupid. I pulled very high grades. I was on honor roll for coming up on the last 3 years of my high school experience. So yeah, now I feel very confident in my abilities because I learned how to use the strategies to my advantage to get through. But before that, it was very scary and isolating and lonely because I didn't even know what a learning disability was because it wasn't talked about. It was kept hidden like it was something I should be ashamed of. But that is something I don't feel ashamed of anymore. I had a lot of people to help me. I went to an amazing school called Psychoneska Demonstration School, and all of those teachers and staff helped me learn that it's not something I need to be ashamed of. But the person that helped me the most would have probably been one of my EAs at Harmony Public School. His name was Mr. Brown, and he spent a year and a half doing all the applications to get me into that school, and it shaped me into the young woman you see today. 2 minutes is not a very long time to talk about what it was like, and yeah, that's pretty much it. If I could go back and give my grade 9 self some advice, it'll be okay. You'll get through it and you will graduate high school. Thank you so much.
What separated this young lady from all the other incredible applicants was how she chronologed the journey. We saw the struggles that she went through, the tools that she used to overcome, and where she's moving forward. It's exciting to see when somebody goes through a struggle but reaches the other side. And now she's armed with the tools to help her move forward. If you were listening, honor roll, 3 years. She's a little humble here, but we're all very proud of her, and there's also an energy that comes from Kylie that is this exuberance, this not only do I want to succeed, I want to help those that are where I was. She's already explained to us that she wants to come back and volunteer, and it touches our soul as the Learning Disability Association of Durham Region. All we try to do is see who we can assist, the students that don't know where we're here, maybe because we're older, but to have somebody of a similar age that's been through the similar walk, I'm excited to see what she's going to do and how she's going to help other people learn that these tools are available and that you too can proceed forward. The Learning Disability Association, in conjunction with the DDSB, would like to honor you, Kylie, for the Ability Scholarship, and congratulations. Oh. Let's get this first. And we'll have Kylie say a few words.
I wanted to come up here and say thank you to everybody here tonight, to the DDSB School Board for holding this event and allowing me to share a few words, the Learning Disabilities Association of Durham Region for taking the time to listen to my video submission and voting for me. It means so much to be up here to be able to talk to you guys about what it was like to have a learning disability and just see the recognition and how far I've come. However, I would not have been there without two amazing women in my life, and I want to give them some big recognition right now. First would be my aunt, who gave me a home when I needed one, love and support unconditionally, and means the world to me and hard to put into words. She will always have a biggest place in my heart. She was a parent to me when my parents couldn't be, and I would never trade it for the world. And secondly, and someone that does not get enough support or recognition, in my opinion, would be an EA, Miss G. She is an incredible support system for hundreds of kids that go through the Student Success Service program at Ajax High School. She was there for me when I needed a support system and was always willing to listen and help me. And not just that, the entire Ajax school system deserves a round of applause for everything that they do. So thank you so much for everybody here today, and I hope to come back and do all of you proud for my future endeavors. Thank you again.
Kylie, congratulations once again on receiving the 2024 Ability Scholarship Award. Your video and submission were both moving and inspiring. We wish you absolute continued success on the road ahead.
Trustee Michelle Arsenault represents the Board of Trustees on the Parent Involvement Committee. I'd like to call on her now to introduce our speaker. Michelle?
Good evening, and through you, Chair, I want to welcome our presenter, Peter Aki, one of our co-chairs for the DDSB Parent Involvement Committee. He will be presenting the Parent Involvement Committee annual report, which can be found on pages 15 to 21 in tonight's agenda.
Well, good evening, and thank you, Trustee Arsenault. I'm pleased to be with you tonight to share the Parent Involvement Committee's annual report. My name is Peter Aki. I'm one of the co-chairs of the Parent Involvement Committee, and I'll be presenting the annual Parent Involvement Committee report on behalf of the PIC. The Parent Involvement Committee's primary goal is to provide the Durham District School Board with information and advice to help engage parent guardians across the district by undertaking activities to help parent guardians support their children's learning at home and school. Building strong and effective partnerships with families helps children and families thrive. Tonight, I'll be highlighting key initiatives of this year's PIC. The subcommittee members that work to develop and implement each initiative ensure that sessions and events offered align with DDSB's values and strategic direction and were responsive to parent, guardian, and family needs in a post-pandemic environment. We thank all of our PIC volunteers and DDSB staff for their efforts throughout this year. The parent engagement produced 3 e-newsletters this year that featured information, resources, and strategies for parents and guardians. Now, these e-newsletters were shared with communities through the schools for distribution within their communities and shared through our board social media channels and were published on our website. These newsletters included messages from our chairs and provided information on local school events, including regional events during scheduled student school breaks, like winter break or March break and the summer, and provided timely educational resources and system information and dates from central departments about parent-facing events. Now, engaging diverse communities. This subcommittee has been working on creating an easy-to-understand parent-guardian-facing resource to support student and family engagement in SCC-hosted events or activities. Now, when planning events, this guide will ask organizers to consider many factors, such as dates of significance, family ancestry, race, gender, religion, ability, neurodiversity, socioeconomic status, family structures and family status. Suggestions for consideration for accessibility, such as physical accessibility of the location, the use of multi-language documentation, dietary restriction consideration, and ways to gather family feedback and other suggestions will also be included. This document will be available to school community councils in the upcoming 24-25 school year. Next, I'll move on to the programs. Research shows us that parent guardians who are involved in their children's education help to support their children's achievement and well-being. I'm definitely a testament to that. The ministry's PRO, Parents Reaching Out Grants program, provides funding to school boards to work with parent guardian stakeholder groups. School community councils to lead projects with a focus on the identification and removal of barriers that may prevent parent guardians and families from participating and engaging fully in their children's learning within their local school communities. Now, this ministry guidelines for parent programs include such as addressing social inclusion and racism, specifically anti-Asian, anti-Black, and anti-Indigenous racism, and other prejudices towards racialized and marginalized groups, creating a safe and welcoming environment, demonstrating respect for parent guardians as valued partners within the education system regarding decisions about their children's education. Additionally, enhancing communication with teachers and informing parent guardians about the expectations of the Ontario curriculum and supporting resources. This year alone, almost $50,000 was accessed by the SCCs to fund 43 school events. Parent Engagement Speaker Series. Now, based on community surveys and the PIC feedback on topics that were important and relative to families, the Parent Engagement Speaker Series hosted 2 events this school year. One was Parenting in the Age of Social Media. That was held in February and hosted in partnership Positive School Climates. The focus of this event was to address new considerations for parents and guardians while offering suggestions for keeping kids safe, responsible, and ethical as they navigate online spaces. And in June last week, I got the privilege of co-hosting the other one, The Lighter Side of Mental Health, that provided helpful information on supporting each child's mental health heading into the summer and beyond. For these events, we had over 400 participants. As part of a pilot program, the PIC supplied some funds to these events as a school watch party platform in order to foster family engagement, outreach, and build community by having families watch the event together in their local school. For those schools able to host a watch party, it provides an excellent opportunity for their school community to come together and delve into these topics more deeply and explore its relevance within their school's context. Now, we had a small number of schools participate in this pilot, and we look forward in the upcoming year to rolling this out to all schools across multiple event opportunities next year. Volunteer of Distinction. On October the 24th, the PIC was joined by our trustees, Director of Education, superintendents, administrators, and staff for our first in-person Volunteer of Distinction Recognition evening since 2019. The event acknowledges and celebrates volunteers from schools across the board as nominated by their principal and SEC for their commitment and work within the school. Over 110 volunteers were recognized in the ceremony, followed by a reception where they had the opportunity to meet with all attendees. The feedback was very positive from volunteers, administrators, and guests, and we look forward to more in-person recognition events moving forward. Our regional SCC. Again, we haven't had one since 2019, and we had one in February, and it was the first in-person one, like I mentioned. Administrators, SCC chairs, and designates were invited to attend an evening, including a panel of guest speakers, breakout sessions on topics relevant to SCCs, and the opportunity to network with each other at the end of the evening. Sinclair Colony art students and staff were kind enough to cater to this event. An expo of local community partners and Central Board Department community resource tables provided participants the opportunity to bring back materials to share with the rest of their school's SCC. The event was a great success with lots of positive feedback. To build on the success of this regional SCC, we plan on expanding this event by hosting 3 local networking SCC sessions specifically for the 1 Ajax Pickering, 2 Oshawa Whitby, and 3 for the Northern region in order to be more responsive to individual school community area needs. Before I wrap up, this has been a challenging year for parents, guardians, and caregivers as we slowly transition to more in-person activities. We are very thankful and grateful that we provided meaningful engagement opportunities for parents and guardians to assist them in supporting their children. Thank you very much for the opportunity to serve our DDSB community this year, and thank you also for giving me the opportunity to present to you all. Good night. Oh, yes, thank you. Are there any questions, any comments that you may have, any thoughts? Did this swap to the Jeopardy music? Oh, okay.
Trustee Arson.
I don't have a question. I just want to say thank you, Peter, for bringing your annual report to the trustees and the board tonight.
I'm sorry, I didn't.
Oh, sorry. I said I want to thank you for bringing your annual report to the trustees and to the board tonight.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
Trustee Edwards.
Thank you, and you kind of answered my question when it came to how you were moving the regional school community council to 3 local events to address local priorities, which is really, really great. And I just want to again thank you for the work that you and the PIC committee have done. I had heard many comments. I did attend some of the regional events, but also heard many, especially about the virtual speaker series and how basically, especially those that had the ability to have that watch party, because they could then have that really fulsome discussion around the topic and get supports from each other. It was really, I'm hoping that again with the speaker series that maybe you include a couple of more and just not just the 2, but thank you for all of what you do.
Yeah, it's a topic that's dear to my heart, parent engagement. So we're going to do all that we can to ensure that this particular piece is across the board. So yes, we definitely will be engaging our group to see how we can definitely address more topics for the upcoming year, for sure.
Trustee Cunningham.
Thank you so much for that report. I wanted to ask about the parent, the speaker series that you hosted. Sorry, I lost my words there. The speaker series.
Okay.
I wondered if there are any recordings of those for parents who may have missed them.
Yes, they are.
Fantastic, thank you.
You're welcome.
Trustee Miller.
Thank you. I just wanted to say thank you as well. I had the pleasure of attending your first in-person meeting, and it was wonderful. I think that you did an excellent job engaging the entire team, the entire committee, and I love that there is definitely a focus on engagement, and parents know how they can show their support. So thank you again, and I really, really would love to participate next year.
I appreciate the kind word. Thank you very much for the sentiment.
And Trustee Panillo?
Thank you, Chair. Through you, I am echoing much of what my colleagues have said and saying thank you so much and extending gratitude for all the work you've done, and congratulations on a successful year. I'm also, I guess, pinning something that I would love to perhaps revisit in a future date, the parent engagement communications. I would love to know what the, if and what the feedback and analytics on those were, and if there were suggestions, and if parents really found those nice summaries useful, because I think sometimes we're all bombarded with so many emails and notifications, but they look very comprehensive, and so would love to know more about that. But otherwise, also wanted to say thank you for moving to the regional model. I think it's really important to meet people where they're at, both geographically and wherever they are on their journey as parents with children and youth in the school board. So thank you so much.
Well, the reason also, one of the main reasons is we want to be able to address to ensure that minimization of barriers as well too. So we can, having these events localized, will be able to create more interest as well. Not only that, we'll be able to have an opportunity for even people to come to, even if that babysitting issues and stuff like that as well too. So that's part of the reason. So we're looking forward to it for the next year for sure.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
I'm not seeing any more questions. Thank you so much for answering all of them. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you for the work that you're doing as well. Thank you so much.
We've been moving on to item 12 on the agenda under recommended actions, and I'm going to call on Trustee Carolyn Morton, who is a chair of our Finance Committee, for the item 12A, consideration of the 2024-25 draft budget.
Thank you, and through you, Chair. Trustees, we bring forward to you this evening the draft 2024-2025 budget. Thank you to the Education Finance Committee for all of your hard work and the engagement through this process. We want to recognize Associate Director David Wright. We have Jennifer Machen and Melissa Durwood, who are both Senior Managers of Finance. We have Lisa Bianca from Facilities, and not with us tonight, but we know that she contributes to this, is Kristen Talbot. Thank you to all. We always have as our focus student achievement and the student and staff well-being. That will always be our focus. The committee last met on June the 5th, 2024, and at that meeting, trustees carried the resolution to recommend the budget by a vote of 7-2. Tonight, we are here to adopt that resolution. Once adopted, the budget will be posted on the DDSB website, and it will be submitted to the Ministry of Education by the end of June. I would like to put forward the following motion, which appears on page 24 of your agenda package. That the Board of Trustees adopt the resolution of Education Finance Committee of June the 5th, 2024, approving the draft budget such that the 2024-2025 budget at Appendix A, containing total revenues of $1,220,903,513 and total expenses of $1,220,903,513 is approved. Thank you, Chair.
Looking for a seconder for the motion. Trustee Cunningham. Are there any comments? Trustee Panillo.
Thank you, Chair, and through you, I extend the gratitude to Trustee Morton for her work as Chair and also to the staff. I know our committee meeting got a little bit heated, but I think that's evidence of important debate and important pushback and understanding with such a large budget what exactly we're funding. I wanted to give gratitude for all of the additional information we were presented with because I think it answered many of the questions and built on the understanding that we as trustees have. But more importantly, gratitude to the community members who also had submitted questions through us as trustees that they wanted us to ask and inquire about. It's very important that they're involved and very important that we can answer those questions and understand where those answers are coming from. And so I appreciated the opportunity to push back and challenge, but also to learn. So thank you very much.
Trustee Edwards.
Thank you. And I support this budget, but it's not without some trepidation, and it's not because of staff and the work that they've done, because they have definitely looked at our strategic priorities and addressed them as best they can. But I just can't be remiss with not talking about some of the shortfalls that the Ministry of Education has around this budget, and the shortfalls particularly when they do not pay the full amount of our CPP and our EI, and to have a deficit of $2.2 million that is not funded, and this is, federal and provincial, that should be funding CPP and EI, and we have to find that funds in our budget which can be used to support our students in their classroom and their staff. And again, when it comes to the shortcomings on technology, even though they've increased their budgets around technology, many of you have seen the increase, most of the increases are with a standard benchmark of 2%, or when it comes to salaries, it's an increase based on what was negotiated. And when they quote dollars of how much more money they're spending on education, it really doesn't mean a lot of what we can do with that little bit extra, because when we have 90% of our budget is based on 91%, actually, I did the calculation from our numbers, is actually spent on staffing. So that's not really an increase. That's an increase that our staff have earned and negotiated to do the job that they do in the classroom. So again, I still support it, and because it does address our issues, but still it's not enough. And I, again, continue to advocate with the ministry to fully fund the support of all of our students. Thank you.
Trustee Brown.
Thank you, and through you, Chair. I think Trustee Edwards just took my line. I feel that as trustees, I'm not sure what we can do to support you and your team with how the ministry has dealt with us. So I'm not sure, I don't know another way to say it. I know I'm pretty blunt, but I feel that I don't know if we could write a letter on behalf, or I don't know what can be done, but I do feel that this time next year we need to make sure that we're on top of things, so we're not put in the position, well, you guys are not put in the position that you were put in for us then to have to approve something that I'm still not very comfortable with it. But I do understand that I do support it, but I'm not comfortable. So hopefully we can work that out before next year.
Thank you. Student Trustee Ben Cameron.
Thank you, Chair, so much. And I would also like to thank our staff for developing this with what they got. And I know, as Trustee Edwards has said, we're not being funded for what we have in the past, what we should be funded for, the best interests of our students. And luckily, I do not have a fiduciary duty to the board. So out of frustration at our lack of funding, I'm not able to support the budget tonight. But that's not because of the great work of our staff. Thank you.
As I'm seeing no further comments, I will call the question. You have your cards with your green check mark if you're in support of this budget. would you please raise your green check marks? Kathy, could we have a recorded vote tonight?
Through you, Chair, I will call the recorded vote. Trustee Arsenault?
In favor.
Trustee Brown?
In favor.
Trustee Cunningham?
In favor.
Trustee Edwards?
In favor.
Trustee Jackula?
In favor.
Trustee Miller?
In favor.
Trustee Morton?
In favor?
Trustee Penelo?
In favor.
And Trustee Thatcher?
In favor.
I'll now call the non-binding vote with the student trustees. Trustee Cameron?
Not in favor.
Trustee Hoare?
Not in favor.
Trustee Casaju?
Not in favor.
We have 9 in favor, and we have 3 not in favor on the non-binding votes. And we have 3 trustees who are absent.
Thank you. And that motion carries. Before we move on, I would like to mention that while Trustee Stephen Linton is not in attendance this evening, he has provided comments around the draft budget, which will be posted publicly as part of the board package. These will be made available to everyone. And moving on then to item 12B, and as discussed at the May 29th, 2024 Governance and Policy Committee meeting, 2 trustees will be elected to serve on the committee in its first cycle through the November 2025 organizational board meeting. In each subsequent year, trustee representatives for the advisory committee will be nominated and elected annually at the organizational board meeting. So at this time, I am seeking nominations for the Anti-Black Racism Advisory Committee. I will now open nominations. Trustee Brown?
Thank you, and through you, Chair, I would like to nominate myself, Tracy Brown.
Well, now I guess that means you will accept that nomination.
I will accept that nomination. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Miller?
I didn't hear, but I think that, was that a self-nomination? Okay, I was going to nominate just G. Brown.
Okay, thank you. And she did accept the nominations. Trustee Penelo?
Thank you, Chair. Through you, I would like to nominate Trustee Linton, who can't be here this evening, although he cannot accept said nomination. So, looking for guidance on how we navigate.
I think, did you talk to him? Do you know if he accepts? No. Well, I don't know that we can put forward the nomination then if we don't know if he accepts.
Thank you. Are there any further nominations? Trustee Brown?
Thank you. I would like to nominate Trustee Shailene Penelo.
Trustee Penelo, will you accept the nomination?
I will not, with thanks to my nominator, and I have received confirmation from Trustee Linton that he will accept my previously tabled nomination.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Penelo. Are there any further nominations? I will ask a third time, and if there are no further nominations, I will declare the nominations closed. The nominations are now closed, and as we have 2 positions to fill and 2 nominations, I declare that Trustee Brown and Trustee Linton will be our 2 representatives on the Anti-Black Racism Advisory Committee by acclamation. So moving on then to item 12C, and I am now seeking nominations for the where is it? Sorry about that. For the Human Rights Advisory Committee. As discussed on May 29th Governance and Policy Committee meeting, 2 trustees will be elected to serve on the committee in its first cycle through to the November 2025 organizational board meeting. In each subsequent year, trustee representatives for the advisory committee will be nominated and elected annually at the organizational board meeting. So as indicated, I'm seeking nominations for the Human Rights Advisory Committee. Trustee Miller.
I'd like to nominate Trustee Cunningham.
Trustee Cunningham, will you accept the nomination?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Panillo.
Thank you, Chair. I will self-nominate and accept that nomination. Thank you.
Good to hear. Trustee Cunningham?
Thank you. I would like to nominate Kelly Miller.
Trustee Miller, will you accept that nomination?
I accept the nomination, thanks.
Are there any further nominations? Are there any further nominations? I'll ask a third time, and if there are no further nominations, I will declare the nominations closed. So nominations are now closed. We have 3 individuals who've been nominated and accepted the nominations. I'm going to ask in alphabetical order if you would like to speak to the nomination. Trustee Cunningham.
Yes, thank you. And through you, Chair, you all know me. You know that I'm a staunch supporter and advocate for human rights. I believe I'd be a great fit as the trustee representative on our school board's Human Rights Committee. I've been involved in human rights advocacy for at least the past decade in Durham and elsewhere. Specifically as a school board trustee, I've advocated tirelessly for the rights of 2S LGBTQIA community, among others, and more recently, I've given voice to Jewish community members in need of an advocate. I believe that we're stronger when diverse communities come together. By working side by side with people from all backgrounds, we can create the change needed to truly live our strategic plan. If chosen for this role, I'm committed to listening to the other trustees and bringing everyone's voices to the committee. I'm really excited about the opportunity to engage in work I'm passionate about, and I think that this committee can make a real difference, and I'd love to be a part of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Cunningham. I'd like to call on Trustee Miller.
As your trustee, I'm deeply honored and humbled by the opportunity potentially to serve as your trustee representative for the Human Rights Committee. My continuous learning and being a part of Western University's Learning Network, constantly updating my knowledge in gender-based violence against women and children. In my academic experience, I've taken a strong focus in humanities and social justice and education. In addition, I have done great research in international development, intercultural practice, and democracy in the University of Verona, Italy. In my volunteer role at the Women's Multicultural Resource Center, I advocate for women's rights and women of all walks of life. In my career and community, I have been a strong advocate for the rights of those with visible and invisible disabilities, also working with the Disabilities Learning Association of Learning Disabilities Association of Toronto. As your trustee representative, I will uphold all of DDSB's Indigenous education policy, human rights, anti-discrimination, and anti-racism policy. I would love to work collaboratively when we know each other and we get to understand each other and where we each come from, and each of us have a place in society. We break barriers and we can have an equitable society. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Miller. And Trustee Piniella.
Thank you, Chair, through you. I won't keep this too long, but I simply want to share that, as many of you will now know, how I got to be around this board table is quite simply because of the social justice, advocacy, and human rights work that I've done in Oshawa. If I were to simplify that, it would be I'm a rabble-rouser and have been for quite a long time since I was a student in DDSB, and it is my passion. But more importantly, it's also academically and professionally part of my background. So to build on what Trustee Miller said, we do indeed have some very progressive policies. We have great human rights legislation, but those things are only as powerful as they can be when applied to people's actual lives and stories. And so that is something that I strive and aim to do professionally and personally every day. Having hard conversations, balancing intersecting rights, which we have gotten the opportunity to do PD and have tough conversations around this table. And I would like to be able to continue to give voice and space to those who need it, but also to bring thoughtful considerations to this table as one of the two trustee representatives. So I'll leave it at that, and thank you in advance for your consideration.
Thank you, trustees. We will now vote by the confidential polling system. We are looking for 2 representatives, so trustees are asked to vote for 2, to select 2 trustees.
Chair, through you, the vote needs to be called a second time. Some trustees only made 1 vote. We need to have every individual trustee select 2 representatives.
Thank you, Director. Please vote for 2 candidates. I would like to congratulate Trustee Miller and Trustee Panillo. Moving on in the agenda to item 12D, and I'd like to call on Superintendent Andrea McCauley.
Thank you. The purpose of this report, which begins on page 79 of tonight's agenda, is to seek approval from the Board of Trustees to adopt the Inclusive Student Services Special Education Plan for the upcoming 2024-2025 school year. The plan was presented to trustees on June 3rd for information and feedback. The Inclusive Student Services Special Education Plan is posted publicly on the board's website. Feedback on programs and services is reflected in the plan and is welcomed throughout the year. It is recommended that the Board of Trustees consider the Inclusive Student Services Special Education Plan and related programs for the 24-25 school year for approval through motion of the board. The proposed recommendation is found on page 80 of tonight's agenda. Thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent McCauley. The recommendation can be found there at the bottom of the page, on page 80. And I'm looking for a mover and a seconder. Trustee Edwards.
I move that the Board of Trustees approve the Inclusive Student Services Special Education Plan for the 2024-2025 school year.
And seconder, Trustee Brown. Thank you. Is there any further discussion or comment? Trustee Edwards.
And again, I want to thank basically a Special ISS and as well as the Special Education Advisory Committee on their input as far as this plan is concerned. Again, it seems, it always calls it a plan, but it really is just what we are doing for the next year, and understanding and supporting our students who have some challenges within the education system. And I know with the funds that we receive, it's always difficult, increasingly difficult to support the increasing needs and complex needs that we have as students. But I appreciate this plan and all the work that has gone into it. Thank you.
Trustee Miller.
I too would also like to thank the Inclusive Services Department and the team for the amazing work that they have done over this term. Also, the fact that we have witnessed an improvement in terms of the feedback and taking in the constant feedback from parents and finding new ways to engage them, to take their input into the planning. I was really happy to see that this term, so I'm very happy for what we have accomplished, and I'm very thankful to the Inclusive Service Department. Thank you.
Is there any further discussion or comment? And I'm seeing none. So, trustees, you have your green check mark if you're in favor of the Inclusive Student Services Special Education Plan. Please raise. That is unanimous for trustees and student trustees. That motion carries. Moving on to information items. That is item number 13 on your agenda, and I'm going to call on Associate Director David Wright for the 2024 official enrollment projections.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, and through you, I'm happy to welcome and introduce Lisa Bianca, Head of Facility Services, who will be presenting this report.
Thank you, and through you, Madam Chair. I'm here this evening to share with trustees the official enrollment projections for the 2024-2025 school year. Facilities planning staff, in conjunction with the workforce planning and business services teams, have developed the OEP for the coming school year. The OEP are used by a variety of departments and staff across the district and are used as a basis for the budget as well as to allocate staffing for the coming year. Also critically important, the OEP are used to determine future school needs, the need for boundary program revisions, and the locations where temporary accommodations such as portables are needed. We are anticipating an overall enrollment increase of 4,299 pupils, 2,470 in the elementary and 1,829 in the secondary panel. With this significant increase, we will continue to see enrollment exceed capacity at the elementary and secondary levels. We need more space, and we are working diligently to move all our capital priorities projects forward as quickly as possible. In the meantime, we will utilize portables and all available spaces within our existing schools and facilities to provide safe and effective learning environments for our students. In September, staff will present the Accommodation Plan 2024 to 2028, Trends, Issues, and Future Opportunities, which will address current and future accommodation needs and strategies to address them in greater detail. Thank you, and I'm welcome to any questions.
Trustee Morton.
Thank you, and through you, Chair. The growth, we've gone from 70,000 to 83,000 in just a few years. I'm curious about the use of portables because for the last few years, portables have not been in abundance. Is that changing? Are we going to have access to sufficient number of portables?
Thank you for your question, and through you, Chair. We have acquired a significant number of additional portables to our fleet this year, actually in excess of 75 new units. Since the sort of following the sort of pandemic where there were a lot of manufacturing issues, material shortages, we have seen a rebound in the availability across the system, and we have purchased a combination of not only new units, but also surplus units from other boards that aren't seeing the increases that this board is. So we've been able to assemble quite a number of additional units for this year.
Trustee Edwards.
Thank you. And I know these are projections, but we're usually fairly conservative in our projections. And when you already say that there's an increase of 4,299 pupils, I wonder what September is going to like, because this year we exceeded even the OEP. So just wondering as far as how close our projections are, how comfortable do you feel?
Thank you, and through you, Chair. The increases over the 2023-2024 OEP, so many of the students that are reflected in that increased number are already sitting at desks at DDSB schools. So we have seen a number come in. We are seeing our projected numbers for new registrations and of both early learners, kindergarten students, but also anticipated registration from new developments. We are seeing it come to fruition as we speak. Every week we have new students enrolling, and it is bearing up to our numbers. We're confident in our numbers, and we are we're anticipating a lot of growth.
Trustee Cunningham.
Thank you, and through you, Chair. I wanted to ask about the French immersion projections, and this may not be a question for you, Lisa, but I'm wondering how confident we are that we're going to continue to be able to service all those families who have requested that their child be in French immersion. Do we believe that we'll be able to have the French teachers on hand? Are we confident that we're going to be able to keep that program accessible to everyone interested?
Thank you, and through you. I'll defer the question about the staffing to Superintendent Mundy, but I will answer on the
aspect of physical space. Our single-track French immersion schools are some of the only schools that we have, not the spatial pressures that we have in some of the other schools. So as far as physical space, we're quite confident, but we know that teaching staff is always a challenge. So I'll defer to Superintendent Mundy.
Thank you, and through you, Chair. So we continue to engage in a lot of hiring. We do some pool hiring in terms of our French needs. What we've noticed over the last couple of years is we have been able to fulfill all of our FI, so our French immersion positions. Where we've continued to have to work is with our core French, actually, to ensure that we have coverage throughout the year. So that has been a focus for our hiring this year as we're constantly trying to be responsive to the needs of the system.
Trustee Morton.
Thank you, and through you, Chair. We represent 7 municipalities, and I see growth in all 7 of those municipalities. Which ones are experiencing the greatest growth at the present time?
Thank you, and through your chair. Well, certainly West Whitby, we have seen significant growth over the past several years. We're fortunate to have capital priorities projects that will help to address that. But currently, we have about 1,000 students in partner schools that have come from the West Whitby growth. North Oshawa, again, is a significant area where we are seeing quite a lot of new enrollment, increased enrollment, and again, the capital priorities are there to support it. On the horizon, we're going to see, when you look at some of the outer years and the projections, we're seeing quite a bit of growth in the Brooklyn area as the Brooklyn expansion comes online, as well as Kedron and Columbus. So most of the focus, the growth is towards the north of the urban municipalities, but as you know, we're seeing growth in Beaverton as well, and we're also seeing growth throughout, Ajax, Pickering, Seton. It's hard to pinpoint where it is, but if I had to say the most growth right now, I would say West Whitby has been steady.
Definitely. Are there any further questions or comments? And I'm seeing none. Thank you very much for your questions, trustees. And I'm moving on then to the approved minutes of the Governance and Policy Committee meeting of April 24th. I'm going to call on Trustee Cunningham.
Thank you, and through you, Chair, I don't have anything to add to what is in the agenda package, so I would direct you to pages 96 to 100 for those approved minutes. Thank you.
Are there any questions for Trustee Cunningham? And I'm seeing none. Moving on to the Special Education Advisory Committee minutes of April the 18th. And look to one of the trustees, Trustee Edwards, Miller, or Arsenal, to speak to that.
Thank you. The report from the Special Education Advisory Committee can be found in pages 101 to 108. And I just wanted to highlight again that one of the things in order to improve communications and highlight our different associations, that each month we've been having an association give a presentation about who they are and who they represent and what they do. This month was LDAO. As well as just again, we're actually pleased that the Ability Center Summer Therapeutic Recreation Program is back for a 3rd year, and this program basically is open to all youth whose programming needs are aligned with life skills, self-care, and readiness for the workplace. As well as every month, we now have the inclusive student services impact update that is provided as part of the report, and that's what I would like to add. Thank you.
Are there any questions or comments for Trustee Edwards? And I'm seeing none. Thank you very much. I'd like to draw your attention then to the two memos. The one is around the summer school learning opportunities for 2024, and the second is around PPM 128, both quite extensive information reports. So if there are any comments with regards to either one of the memos? Trustee Edwards?
Thank you. I'm just wondering if that, I know that if we could sort of get a list of schools that are offering the Great Beginning School Success Program, because I know it wasn't offered in all schools last year. It'd be interesting to note that. And the same with the getting ready for high school, entering grade 9, is that it wasn't offered necessarily, it says at the home schools, but I know it wasn't necessarily offered at all home schools.
Director, would there be an opportunity for those schools?
Thank you, Chair. We could attempt to provide a list because we do have a projection, but there will be a report that comes to the board in October that will outline the schools where it actually did occur, but we would be happy to add an addendum to the list if you would like.
Thank you, Director. Thank you to Kathy for providing the days of significance. And if there is no further business, I would like to adjourn this meeting. Good night, everyone.